Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down an absolutely fascinating tactical test. We're looking at the anatomy of a comprehensive victory as Switzerland took on Jordan in a massive, high-stakes pre-tournament matchup. Now, pre-tournament friendlies are rarely just casual kickabouts, right? They are tactical laboratories. It's where managers look to fine-tune their squads, test out very specific formations, and really try to build that essential momentum. And let me tell you, this matchup provided an absolute masterclass. We saw everything from intense offensive pressure and defensive lapses to the sheer unpredictability of tournament prep, right down to those early offside flags, catching players whose attacking runs came just a bit too early. Okay, let's dive into this. To really grasp the intensity of this match, we have to look at the timeline. 11. That is the number of days separating this crucial tune-up match from the start of the World Cup. When you are literally just 11 days away from the biggest tournament in international football, every single pass, every tackle, and every minor tactical shift carries immense weight. These players are basically walking a mental tightrope. They desperately need to secure their match sharpness and build rhythm, but at the same time, they know a single mistimed tackle could cost them their spot on the ultimate stage.
So, you might be wondering, why Jordan? Well, this definitely wasn't a randomly selected opponent. The crucial context here is that Switzerland was eager, and I mean very eager, to play Jordan specifically, because their tactical setup perfectly mimics what the Swiss will face in their very first tournament game against Qatar. By facing a team that employs a heavily similar system, the Swiss manager, Murat Yakin, was essentially running a live simulation of opening day. It was a full-on dress rehearsal designed to test exactly how his squad would unlock that specific style of defense.
Section 1. Breaking the deadlock. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer, unrelenting offensive pressure Switzerland applied right out of the gate. The early dominance was staggering. We're talking 6 attempts for Switzerland to a mere 1 for Jordan. The Swiss were effortlessly creating pathways to the goal. Breel Embolo, affectionately called Bolo on the broadcast, was constantly linking up and looking for Manzambi. And then you had Granit Xhaka engineering a wonderfully struck try right on the edge of the penalty area. It blazed just over the top, but only just. It could so easily have been the opening goal if it weren't for a big hand from Jordan's keeper, Abu Layla. The pressure was absolutely immense. But here's the thing. Early dominance can sometimes lead to overcomplication. The broadcast commentary hit the nail on the head when they noted the Swiss were almost trying to walk the ball in. When a team dominates possession like that, they can start taking one too many touches, They look for the absolutely perfect finish instead of just pulling the trigger. Remo Freuler had the ball, got it back from a neat interchange, and it looked for all the world like he was going to score, but if we're completely honest, he took maybe one too many touches and was denied at the very last second, allowing the Jordanian defense to momentarily survive. Let's move to and see how this builds across the first half, because mapping it out reveals a rapid, chaotic succession of events that blew the game wide open. After those early misses, a thorough VAR review resulted in a penalty for a foul on Freuler, which was coolly converted. Then, right after the mid-half drinks break, Dan Ndoye, referred to as Danor on the call, struck right at the heart of the move to make it 2. Finally, right on the stroke of halftime, another penalty call allowed Granit Xhaka to step up and make it 3-0. I actually want to zero in on that second goal, the one right after the drinks break, because it highlights a massive tactical breakdown. In football, restarting play after a pause is notoriously dangerous. Jordan completely switched off. A huge gap just magically opened up in the Jordan defense, and the Swiss were incredibly alert. They were ready to pounce on that momentary lapse, sending a man straight through the gap to tuck it away nicely beyond the goalkeeper. That is a brutal lesson for Jordan ahead of a major tournament. You literally cannot lose your focus for even a single second. Section 2. Jordan fights back. So despite leading comfortably, Switzerland actually started showing some cracks. A really loose pass instantly created a golden opportunity for Jordan. It was a massive chance that probably should have been converted, requiring a brilliant sprawling save from Ivan Mavogo to make sure Switzerland stayed on top. But make no mistake, as the commentary rightly noted, that was a major let-off. It is absolutely not something that Swiss manager Murat Yakin will be happy to see. Unforced errors and loose touches at the back, yeah, those are major red flags when you're preparing to face the world's best attackers. And Jordan's persistence did eventually pay off. Let's tactically deconstruct exactly how they punched back to make it a 3-1 game. Step 1, they forced the issue defensively, winning themselves a corner and putting Switzerland in a spot of bother. Step 2, the set piece is set in, and it's no surprise to see Al Tamari involved in the build-up, smartly working the ball back into a dangerous area. Step 3, Kolderi steps up, driving a nicely engineered strike towards the corner. There was a bit of a deflection on it, and honestly, I very much doubt the goalkeeper could see much of it at all through the crowd of players. But hey, it brought Jordan right back into the game. Section 3. Rhythm for the tournament.
Now, a massive part of establishing that tournament rhythm was dictating the physical battles in the penalty area. This was perfectly highlighted by what the commentary called a big wag of the finger from the referee. I want to circle back to that decisive penalty decision right before the half involving Embolo. The big question in the moment was whether the attacker kicked the trailing leg or vice versa. The ref decided it was definitively defender on attacker, showcasing the dramatic, split-second decisions that define these matches. And Granit Xhaka, who the broadcast rightfully praised for leading his team admirably after a fabulous season in England, made absolutely no mistake from the spot.
So the crucial point is how Switzerland ultimately closed the door and sealed the 4-1 victory, proving they have that killer instinct. Let's deconstruct goal number 4. Step 1 is all about elite transition speed. The Swiss moved the ball from back to front in a matter of seconds. Step 2. They aggressively capitalized on an error. The ball was sent back into a dangerous area, but the only player waiting there was Ricardo Rodriguez. A loose touch allowed the Swiss right back in. Step 3, Christian Faznot, shouted out as Christy Fen in the frantic commentary, who has just had a wonderful goal-scoring season, arrived right on cue. He wasn't about to miss that chance, tucking it away to make it 4. It was clinical, it was ruthless, and it's exactly the kind of rhythm you want to pick up. Which brings us to our final takeaway. Switzerland undeniably found their rhythm here, winning 4-1 and successfully testing their tactics against a system mirroring their first World Cup opponent. You'd imagine they'll comfortably make it through their group stage based on this kind of performance. But I want to leave you with this provocative thought. How are they going to behave when they come up against the true heavyweights? I mean, when they face the likes of Portugal, they won't be afforded the luxury of trying to walk the ball in, and those loose passes out of the back, they will be punished instantly. Is this 4-1 rhythm truly enough for the ultimate stage? Well, we're going to find out for sure in just 11 days. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep analyzing.